I also have these like AR filters for my camera
Oh yeah,
that just like punches everything up, so
nice.
I look younger. Beats having to put on makeup, and it's almost become like a character in the stuff I do, which is great. All right, so this was something I was gonna like mention probably like halfway into the interview, but I might as well just say right now,
Go ahead.
you like your content and you as a person is what my mom would call Disney pretty.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like you look like you could be on like a Disney show.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I wish I was on a Disney show.
Like I could see you like with the wand doing the corner mouse
Yeah.
ears.
Hi, I'm Julian Bass, and you're watching Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Does the whole
And
thing.
and with that, Julian Bass is a video creative mixing nerd fandoms and VFX to create visually stunning content, and currently has a TikTok account with 1.4 million followers. Welcome to the interview. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to hang out with me and talk about TikTok and the future of social media.
Yeah, yeah, sure thing. I mean, it's a crazy. I mean, it's a crazy like, if you want to call it a turning point, as you know, 2020 goes to 2021. It's been insane,
I, I
just nonstop.
do you feel like COVID hasn't really, prevented you from being creative over the last year?
Not at all. And I don't think it. I think there's like a silver lining to it, where it sort of kind of made a lot of us more creative in a way.
Okay.
I mean, I think even one of the big things is like I was able to sort of like breach the larger like entertainment industry and sort of have conversations with people, and you know the huge thing was like you used to move out to LA and do the whole thing,
Yeah.
but now, of course, seeing the shift to like using Zoom and all these video meetings and stuff, I mean, it's made people more creative in that way to have these meetings and continue to work and sort of get what you want out there. So yeah, it's a silver lining. It's not too bad.
If COVID hadn't been a thing, or maybe this is something you'd still consider, would you join like a hype house? Maybe one for like VFX creators.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, maybe if it was something more akin to like a production house of sorts. Um, well, I just moved, so that's one thing. I just moved to this house here in San Jose from Atlanta,
Okay.
and there's a couple people here who I'm gonna be creating with in the year. I moved here like literally there's still boxes out here, just like in December, is when I moved. So a content house, I don't know. It just seems to be like there's like always drama in it. So I just want to kind of make sure I don't.
I feel like if you meet the right people and they have like the same level of energy, or at least
Yeah.
complementary energy, that
Yeah,
maybe that's something you would probably benefit from.
Yeah, and I think that's probably been the biggest like thing that's up in the air is like collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
really, which is sort of what I mean. The whole turn of doing TikTok and everything had to do with me being unable to collaborate the way that I conventionally would, like with my friends and shooting videos and doing longer form content. Um, I was like alone in my room, and I was like, "What do I do here?" And then I started making TikTok. So that was sort of like avoiding collaboration, and now it's like gotten to a point where it's time to embrace that a bit more and do it some more. So yeah, I don't know.
Do your other friends do a lot of like VFX work as well?
For the longest time, I had not even met a single person who did VFX. I had worked on videos in the past where it really like started for me really early. So I was about 11 years old when I started doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So like none of my friends were like, they were all playing video games and going outside and doing things, and I was like making myself disappear on a computer. And I was like, yeah, I should check this out. And they were like, wow, that's cool, Jules. Whatever. Um,
Where they
then
were all
we
like,
watched.
"Man, you're on that video Copilot site a lot."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I spent so much time like learning when I was young, and so I got to a point where, middle school, high school, college, and was just like the only person who knew how to do what I could do. I had other friends who did like filmmaking, other actor friends and stuff like that, from my musical theater class and
Mhm.
things. But I was already, we would all film, and I would have the video at the end and be the editor for the whole thing.
I can tell you, that's exactly how I broke in as well.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine ended up writing a movie called Just Never Reloads, and called me up and was like, "Hey, we need VFX on this thing. Can you learn After Effects?" And I was like, "Sure, give me 2 weeks." Yeah. And now the guy who wrote that film is a writer at Netflix.
Oh man.
No, he like, but without like that, you know, that first like entry point, I don't think I would find myself doing what I do now. And I kind of see that same pathway for you, where you found something that you love, and now you're finding complementary people to work with to create something bigger than yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean that's really the way it started for me was, like you said, like it's something I like to do, something I was on my own. And then it got serious once I did this like reflections, this PTA reflections thing, and won this national award for it. And I didn't really take it seriously. But my parents did, of course. You know, this is like middle school me. So I was like, whatever, I want to, you know, have fun with my friends. And they're like, "Julian, you just won like first place in the national thing here. This is crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
That's awesome.
You know, but it was a game changer for me, and it was also a big lesson about because I remember like the next year I did another project that was by myself, and like it didn't really go anywhere. And it was a big lesson about like finding complementary people. You know, like as great as I could possibly be, and as much better as I've gotten over the years, nothing matches up to being able to work with other people. And every time I do that, you know, as I just put my trust in other people to make something happen, the bigger and better the projects look.
So what inspires you? Like who do you watch that you see and you're like, I want to learn how to do that?
Well, it started, so that's a great question. I remember a lot of people used to ask, or would ask, you know, like what movie was it? You know, what was like what movie or TV show like inspires you? And that really wasn't where it started for me. It was really YouTube and watching people like Corridor Digital, like Freddie Wong, all those. Like,
I know those guys.
Yeah, I mean, just the greatest stuff. And like it made it seem like watching it that like not in a movie theater made it seem more feasible to do. Right, it made it seem like it's something that's within reach, and I wanted to try it. Getting to see that on YouTube, so that was really what inspired me. And then just seeing them grow as I'm growing, and I'm like, oh man, it would be so cool, like to do, you know, be on like a VFX artist react thing, and just to like, gosh, I mean, I just love the way they have their stuff set up, and how they were to kind of make themselves into what they are. And that's one of the things that keeps me going. A lot of it too is just and this is a new thing for me, but support from like younger kids, right? And seeing younger kids like who have never seen somebody like me, who looks like me, doing what I do, and you know, them getting excited. There was this kid who used to live in my neighborhood before I moved, who was like a big fan, a young black kid, and didn't know I lived like a few doors down.
Oh, that's
So
really funny.
I went to go meet him, and he was like, no way. He, you know, his mom knows my mom, and she was like, yeah, he lives right here. Stuff. But seeing that is like super inspiring to me. It's like, you know, it makes it feel more like, and I don't want to say responsibility because it makes it seem like a burden, you know, but like it's like my responsibility to like do this for these people. This is like me paving the way in a sense.
I think social responsibility is but it's also like a self currency. So like you feel good doing it, so you in turn feel good doing it, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's sort of what I'm starting to turn this all into is giving kids who want to do what I do the opportunity to do that, because I'm lucky. You know, I realized that, there's not a lot of people who look like me doing what I do, but it's also not a lot of people with access to what I have to do those things. I lucked out. I had, you know, two very supportive parents who were like, yeah, here's a computer that you can learn VFX on, and you know, let's help foster this dream you got. And not a lot of people are like super, you know, will jump onto that so easily. you know.
I
And so that's yeah.
So when I first got into college and I discovered I wanted to be a YouTuber, I remember telling my mom that I was like, I want to be an internet personality. And I just remember her crying for like 3 days
Oh man.
because I didn't want to be a doctor. And she was like, your dad and his parents didn't come to this country for you to be an internet person, kind of like guilt trip it.
Yeah.
Like my
Yeah.
son will never move out of our basement. Like, joke's on you,
Yeah.
Mom. You don't own a basement. I'll be in the attic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take the garage, whatever, you know.
Yeah. So you're doing exceedingly well on TikTok. What were your earliest videos like compared to like what you're doing now?
Yeah,
Is it like night and day? Was it like a switch where it's like, okay, I need to do it like this?
yeah, I think I had like mainly it's such a weird thing, like how my content has changed over the just even the past year. I started TikTok late 2019 around September, and I was doing just like skits, funny things. I really wasn't doing VFX on TikTok, which is really weird to me now that I think about it, that wasn't the first thing I went to, because that's what I'd been doing for the past like 8 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what I was thinking, just doing skits and not even tapping into that potential, which is when it switched for me in December, when I started to see other people doing VFX on TikTok, and I coordinated the Edit War, which was a fun event to do, and which will be coming back for another like Edit War 2, and I still get comments about it. I mean, that was like 2 years ago, or well, it was a year ago. Then people are like, "Hey, what about the Edit War?" I'm like, "Oh, jeez, okay, it's coming back. It's
Coming back.
Just like, yeah, let's hold on to that." But that's when it changed. That's when I started doing VFX, and that's when things just went on the up and up.
Why were you doing sketches at the beginning? Were you emulating other people? Then you like focused on what made you happy?
Yeah, I think I just, well, at the time I was actually I was editing at GCPS TV, which is this school district news station where I used to live, and actually where I used to go to school. And I was like occupied there, so I was commuting like a half hour to work and then an hour downtown to go to school and then come back home. So I was like doing this like huge commute, working, going to school. And then like TikTok was just something that I got it just to send videos to my friends. I started doing these skits, I think mainly because it was just easier. I didn't feel like, let me put effort into a 20-second, what is that going to do for me? It didn't really like click that would, the quality over the quantity thing it came later for me. And with starting to do VFX on TikTok, I also became more proficient at doing VFX, like just better at, learning things, new techniques, and just being consistent. And then of course, knowing when to back off and take breaks, so that I don't burn out, because I don't have like a team, like a huge group of people to be hey, can you roto this, can you do this, and let me just be done in a day. So but it was just easier.
But are you moving into that to like setting up a team at some point?
Yeah, and I think so. I should be releasing a vlog very soon to my YouTube, as we're starting this up this next year. I used to do these like vlog style videos, and sort of like these with the Google Home thing. I used to play these Google games on it, and started this little like series that I ended up sort of just like dropping, and just like got a job and was like, forget this. And I was actually doing like Uber Eats driving. It's been a wild year. Go from Uber Eats to, hey, move into the house. But one of the folks that I live with here, he's someone I worked on shorts before with, and we shoot videos all the time. And so we're actually going to shoot a video tomorrow, and finish writing it tonight. And we already have a vlog out or ready to come out. Not gonna say a date because that'll lock me down, but I'm going to be doing some more of that. I met with somebody else too, this really talented guy, Joshua Neal, who lives here in the Bay Area, and I mean, just can't wait to start working with him too. There's great people like everywhere, and so like, you know, it's easy to get these collaborations going. Just also got to be as safe as I can with it. So,
what's your schedule like, as far as like setting time aside to do these TikToks and make content? Do you have like a set schedule of like, 9 a.m. to like noon, it's TikToks, from 1 to 5, it's vlog stuff and writing. On Saturday nights, I go do stand up.
I don't have a schedule that's particularly set. I do have like weekly meetings with Disney and with management and things like that. So I'm staying like on my feet. But besides those, it's really like I'm spending a lot of time now writing more, drafting up like these treatments and pitches out to like, hey Disney, what do you think about this? And then they're like, hey, legal, turn that down. And I'm like, all right, well, that's the next thing, But I also have to remember that it's very important that I have like an audience that needs to be,
fed.
I want to say, yeah, fed.
Yeah.
I almost said like stimulated, and I was like, okay, well, let me not.
I mean, that's one way to put it.
I think feeding them is a lot better. But I have an audience that's just waiting for stuff to come out, and I also need to, hey, there's a personal video or a fun video that I want to do. Find time in between these like writings and meetings and deliverables that I have to get out. And I'm also like reading for like roles in movies and stuff too, and like auditioning. So there's like that on the side as well as like pitching, as well as writing with Disney, and then other meetings surrounding all of this stuff.
So let me ask you this. You had this video that went viral, basically going, somebody get me in touch with Disney. Do you feel like that was partially random? You did it as a goof and then it took a life of its own? Or did you like manufacture the virality of it?
Yeah, look, I had no idea that was not even a part of the plan. Not at all. No, I think, well, when I put that up, I was just like, it'd be hilarious, right? Wouldn't it, if Disney was just like, hey, this is cool. Let's speak. I just put it out, just put it out there. Thought it was funny. I had like less than 100 followers on Twitter when I tweeted that out. And I had just gotten a Twitter account that April. So April, May, June, 3 months on it. And the only reason I did that was because another video of mine went viral before I had an account. That's how I had like gotten in contact with Matthew Cherry and James Corden, because they had seen a video and I was like, how did you see this? How? And they were like, it's on Twitter. I was like, what are you talking about? I don't have Twitter. So I of course had to like, all right, let me get on Twitter and just make sure I post every video I post on TikTok to Twitter. And that caption just, I don't know.
It took a life of its own.
Yeah.
What was that like first interaction like? Was it like a manager hit you up and was like, hey, I got connections, let's talk, here's a contract, you need representation? Or was it like one of the heads of Disney going, hey, I heard you want a shot, let's take you to the big time?
Yeah, as far as Disney goes, there was this lady who had actually just created a whole Twitter account just to reach out to me. I almost missed this message, all these DMs or whatever. And she was like, hey, I'm with the office of the chairman. It was Bob Iger who had actually replied to the tweet, which sort of like I think was the thing that changed everything. And when it's like the chairman of Disney,
yeah,
how much higher do you go in entertainment? Wow. Once that happened, once I saw that reply, I had to put my phone down because it didn't stop buzzing for 2 days. I had to put my phone down and just go, all right, I have to turn this into opportunity. This is this can't be the one hit wonder. This has to be something that goes on. And so, I saw this message from this lady. She put me in contact with all these other people. And at the same time as all of this is happening, I'm having calls with agents and managers and everyone who's trying to be like, let's get Julian to sign a paper. And I'm like, oh, geez, I need to just have these meetings. And was just like, it was ballistic. I didn't like sleep for a while, and I finally like I settled down with ICM, and I got management covered and entertainment lawyers and all this stuff. I was like, all right, let's do this deal. And then the deal didn't happen for about a couple more months because it was just, legal paperwork things. It was just a process. But in the meantime, it was just like brand deals. And here's this stuff. We want you to read this, Julian. And do you want to write this? And I was like, oh, well, that's a lot. Just so much coming out. Things that I never thought I'd have the opportunity to even do, especially as it pertains to some like of my favorite superheroes and characters and things, and people asking what would your take be on Static Shock. I'm like, you want me to what Static Shock write Static Shock? Like, you seem like you'd be more qualified, Mr. Warner Brother, sir.
Wait. Warner Brothers asked you to write a treatment for Static Shock.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that they asked me. I would say that I have been presented with the idea that, hey, if you have any takes on any of these, superheroes or anything, and I don't want to say what specifically they, because they mentioned projects that I'm not allowed to talk about.
Of course.
But I had meetings. This is like right when HBO Max was like acquiring Warner Bros. And like all this stuff was like getting set up for them. And so a lot of like the DC like characters have a place to live now. And we're talking about different, gosh, there's so much stuff I want to say. I got to talk around it. This is like I don't know how famous people do this.
Well, let me ask you this: Did you interview for Patriot?
No.
For Captain America. All right. Because the meetings just happened for that casting, and I can see you being put into that position.
Yeah. No. There's other. Gosh. Yeah.
It's okay.
I'll just say no.
All right. Oh man. So do you have like a long-term plan for your content? Do you have like a 5-year plan of where exactly you want to take things? Like, what's the dream job for you?
Yeah, I think my biggest thing, especially coming out of that that viral hit, was I wanted to legitimize myself with the greater entertainment industry, because I knew that if I were to stick myself to TikTok or to any platform on social media, really, that I wouldn't get to it'd be harder for me to get chances to like legitimize myself as, hey, I'm an actor, and they'll be like, no, you're that TikTok guy who does the effects, and I'm like, no, but I come on, I could be serious. And it's nothing really that is anybody's fault, because you just have to know where you want to be, and I just don't want to be like pigeonholed in any situation. So that was my first goal, was like, hey, I want to be legitimized in this space so that I have scripts and treatments and things of my personal projects. These are things that I'm not going to necessarily sell to Disney like right away and be like, hey, check out all this stuff I have. Personal projects that once I get to a point where I'm like free to create at like a much larger scale, that's what I'm going to do. A big focus this year for me is creating longer shorts, and a bit away from TikTok a bit more, and start to maybe even transform my TikTok into more of like a daily behind the scenes something, where it's like not my main platform. So there's a big transition.
So are you starting to plan like your distribution method right now, where you do like a longer form content, you break it up into smaller sections, you make sure to write a story with every video, put that on Tumblr, Medium, Blogger, then maybe rip the audio, put it on Anchor, then repost from TikTok to Instagram and Snapchat, and go through that whole process?
Yeah, that's a big thing that I've been trying to work out, is like, how do I hit like every avenue as I create these these longer projects aren't going to be the quick TikTok that I can take and repost just like
of
easy.
Course.
And so there's going to be a lot of content within the content, like like you were saying, there's like lots of BTS, there's lots of like clips and tips and tricks and tutorials that I can do while making something that won't distract me or make it seem like I disappeared for like 3 months and then came out with like a short film.
D-
And I won't,
would you
lose out
ever
on that.
would you ever consider making like David Dobrik style content where there are so many smaller sections, much like, because he started out as a viner and then moved to vlogs, and that's why his content is structured the way it is. Do you ever think you could do that with a vlog, then cut it up and break it up and put it onto TikTok in the same manner?
Yeah, I vlogging for me, I think is a really, and I don't want to say easy thing to do, but with regards to everything else I do, I guess you could say it's easy. But I think it's just something that I had done before, and that I was, it was quick and efficient, and I was like, I need to probably get back into doing vlogs some more, because they're just fun to do. I remember I did one, this was maybe 2 years ago, where it was like this food review thing, and I honestly thought it was like hilarious, and it was, it performed well. I just, didn't create more. Like that was it. I was just jumping through the things, but now I have like the ability to be much more consistent with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be. I mean, that's in the plan. That's in the book.
So do you have like a release schedule at this point where it's like you got a big calendar and you're like, all right, video 1 comes out on Monday, video 2 is Wednesday, and the vlog is Friday?
Yeah, I have to see. I can knock out a vlog 10-minute video in a day if I'm just working on it within the day. I can knock that out. And I think that once I start posting to YouTube more, I'll get a better feel for it. I haven't posted to YouTube in like maybe like 7 or so months. And the only reason that it's getting more traffic is because of TikTok, and it's just linking it. So I've just been like steadily gaining subscribers for a channel that, some might call just dead. But there's lots of stuff to do with it. I just need to get familiar with YouTube again. It's been a while. So then I can figure out like, here's the best day for me to put a video out, or like, we can do something on Friday or something like that.
So knowing that TikTok will probably follow the social media life cycle like every other platform, like what do you see as the longevity for TikTok for yourself?
Yeah, so that's something I had thought about ever since starting to create on TikTok became something that like generated revenue for me. The second that happened, I was like, all right, well, like you said, every social media platform has this. Like, what's going to be the next thing? And will it A, be something that I can just migrate to and be fine? Or B, should I prep myself to just move away from social media like as a whole and just sort of go like, hey, film route? And that's sort of what I want to do is I want to do the latter. And I think this starting deal with Disney right now is the beginning stages of that. And to a point where like my biggest like inspirational person is would be like Jordan Peele. I love his path, right? I love the way he was able to just create what he wants, but also like play the game a bit, right?
Yeah.
As an African American person, I see every actor or black person just be typecast as the funny black guy, and he was just doing comedy. And I probably like for someone like Jordan Peele to have like Get Out and Us and all these like horror movies in his back pocket, that he's like been holding on to and ready to make. For someone like him, and I'm not speaking on his behalf in any way, but I bet he didn't want to start off, or I bet he didn't want to just do comedy forever, right? Like do Key and Peele for the rest of his life, and you can tell that he has that knack to just want to hold on to what he has, own it, and then make sure it comes out the way he intended, and doing what he did with Monkey Paw. So that's what I want to do. I want to have like either my own studio or just a way to just get some of these things out without having to sell it, really, you know?
So are you like currently looking for your own version of like Mad TV then? Because
Not really.
because that's where he started. Like he was on Mad TV, and then he went on
Yeah.
to do other things.
Yeah, I think I'm taking sort of that and just applying it to like how I started here on TikTok, right? And where it's not the final platform or the final place I want to be, but it's a good thing to get me out there, right? It's that
Yeah.
recognition. It's that way to, you know, get people talking. And then sort of, yeah, with Disney, it's just getting those further conversations, saying, hey, that video was cool. It was a great 20 seconds, but check out this script. It's 40 pages. And there's a lot more where that comes from, you know, and moving into something bigger than myself even.
So when we talk about the current state of social media, we often talk about legitimacy with bigger companies, while at the same time there are YouTubers who get way more attention and way more views and revenue dollars than the bigger companies actually get, even though like, which is a crazy thing to think about, like say 15 years ago, but now it's not so crazy. Do you feel like by reaching for legitimacy with like Disney or other companies, you might end up at somewhere a little bit smaller, and then you're missing on the opportunity of, you know, finding what you would on like YouTube or doing social media?
I think the biggest, like, the finding legitimacy in the industry as a filmmaker doesn't, I will say, doesn't override my want to be a free creator. And I'll say that, you know, I, as much as I, you know, would like to be recognized for what I do in a way that's like, oh, okay, you know, we'll take you seriously and we'll, you know, play your thing in whatever theater or wherever. As much as I would like to be taken seriously like that, I've been doing videos for 9 years where nobody was really paying that much attention except for like my immediate family and some friends at school. So, you know, I was spending sleepless nights doing something that was just for fun. And that's why I believe that being a free creator is something that I love much more than being recognized for it. And even in the way that, and my dad tells me this story all the time about the, you know, winning that national award, and then sort of not caring as such a like younger kid, and being sort of unfazed by just the trophy and being like, you know, smile with it, and it just sits and collects dust. I think that that's a great mentality to have as a creator, because it means I don't get like consumed by those things and like, oh, man, my goal is to win this Oscar, and I, you know, if I don't win it, then I'm nothing. It means everything to me to do those things, but it also means much more to get something off my chest, like just an idea, you know?
I think you're in love with the process more than the actual results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big.
Okay.
And it just gets better. Like, I mean, the more people I can have involved on something, there've been a few shorts that I did that just either failed, like they couldn't, we couldn't finish it, or for whatever reason it, you know, it fell through, that have been like some of the best journeys I've been on and best learning experiences. And I mean, that's stuff that you just can't get back. You know, you can rewind the movie and watch it over again, but you just can't get back the making of it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Isn't that like your version of like 100 crappy videos, which is something every content creator ends up making before? It's so interesting. Like you have that 7-year journey, and you said like 7-8 years, and that's usually what it takes before you start being noticed in social media.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he knows it. He's got it down. I love it.
Yeah. And that, you know, I used to hear, and it's so crazy. Like I used to hear like YouTubers and stuff be like, you know, all you got to do is like keep at it. You know, it's easy to like get discouraged, but if you keep going, it'll happen. I used to be like, yeah, right. What is this, Disney? I just got to believe, you know?
And now look at you.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna go make my own thing, and it's like literally what he just told me to do was make your own thing forever, and it worked out. Like, and I find myself telling people that, like just don't give up, and it's like, yeah, it sounds like it's dumb and simple, and rainbows and unicorns, but no, like really, it's going to take time. No, like there's, you might have heard about me in one day, but it didn't take me like one day to get here, and so that goes for everybody.
Yeah.
It takes work.
I mean,
You'll be fine.
I remember I've been doing this for a decade now, and I've gotten to collaborate with some of the biggest creators in the world. And if I hadn't like been sleeping on couches and volunteering for shoots and going through that process, I would not have made it to this point. Get that little verification check on Twitter, or get like that one video that's driving everything else, because you had to make so many other ones before like it drives the rest of the channel, right? Yeah, like my Mario video is your Disney video. That's basically what it is. But once you get like that one hit, you can leverage it so much to make everything else come true. And doing that 8 years, that 100 crappy videos, is almost like the rite of passage for every professional content creator, and you've gotten there. So I'm proud of you, honestly.
Thank you.
Dude, like I can see so much potential for the rest of your career. It's unreal. And I'm just proud of you, man.
Thanks. It doesn't even feel like, it feels like I know I'm just getting started, but it feels like, wow, yeah, I did it. I'm like,
you might pull a Donald Glover and like, yeah, I'm on Community, but I want to go be Childish Gambino. So
yeah, that's just wild.
Yeah.
I'm 20 years old,
You got your whole life ahead of you.
Literally, so much time. Can't waste it.
Can't waste it. So let me ask you this: where do you see social media going in like the next 10 years?
Like social media as a whole? Like,
yeah, social media as a whole. Like, what do you think is going to be the replacement of like TikTok, or maybe we get closer to the metaverse, which is the whole replacement of the internet?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that there's some like, let me think. There's some things that just don't, or that have that longevity that I won't see, I'll see adapting. TikTok is almost like Vine, in where it can be a little one note, so that like there's a chance for it to be overtaken. But YouTube and things like Twitter, Instagram even, I think, has gotten to this point where it's like they're gonna outlast, right? Snapchat is trying to get over that like hump a little bit by creating they have like Spotlight now, where it's like you can watch people's videos from anywhere, and sort of just scroll on it. I think those types of sort of entertainment apps are breaking a little away from social media and just becoming sort of entertainment as their own thing, like
they're their own Quibbies, basically.
Yeah, that's and they're built in a way that, Quibi couldn't, and so it's like, this is my way to communicate with my friends, but also a way for me to get entertainment. Like, that's why TikTok and things like why Instagram included Reels, and why Snapchat is doing the Spotlight program, is because if you can be in a place and be entertained and also just communicate, then it's like there's nowhere else for you to have to go. That's what I feel like social media is trying to do, is let's get you on there and have you never have to leave. If you could DoorDash from Instagram, forget about it. You're on your couch on Instagram, and then you're just you're ordering food.
I think you can actually, or at least there's a version of it where you can see you can like shop from Instagram. You can be like, oh, that's a really cute shirt, that's a really nice like outfit, I'm gonna go buy it. Oh, look here, I can buy it right from the app, which is great.
Yeah, I think it's almost like a mall, It's like that's where you go to socialize, get entertained, buy things. It's like a mall, which I think this is so weird. This like I know this is gonna sound weird, but I think is maybe kind of the reason why a pandemic happened in the time that it happened, because it gives people a bit of an appreciation for going out again. And I think about like movie theaters, right? And people are talking about, oh, the movie theaters are going under and they'll never come back. We're killing the movie industry. And I don't think so. I feel like people are going to come out of this pandemic wanting to go out more because they've just been missing it so much. And so kind of like a trend where it was like, we're staying in streaming, and then, we're staying in more because of the pandemic. We'll just have that like that sort of roller coaster effect where it's like, well, we want to go back out now because we're able to. So I don't know. I feel like the same thing is happening for social media. Like it'll just ease off a little bit. It's at its height right now because
that's all you can do.
That's all we got. Yeah, that's all we can do.
So say like, skip ahead 6 months. It's summer now. Yeah. Most of the U.S. has had their vaccines. Do you feel like the motivation to create external social media is going to increase then?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. I feel like there's just gonna be, I don't know how strong it's going to be, but I feel like there's going to be in some way some sort of like renaissance in a way that like sort of brings people back out of social media, because all I keep hearing in recent memory is like how dangerous social media is, and how much time we're gonna spend, and it's the I don't know if you've seen the documentary The Social Dilemma.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm a social media futurist. Of course I've seen
it. Yeah, I think there's just gonna be a way where or a time where we all like are like, okay, we spent so much time in it, let's take our breather right now, and then realize that, oh, okay, it's not so hard to balance this. We just need to. It's going to be a big moment of realization, I feel like. And I don't know if I'm talking a circle around it, but
no, like people can definitely be programmed by social media.
Yeah.
And it takes an average between 20 to 30 days to do so. And when we had the 2016 election, basically what was happening is Cambridge Analytica went, okay, here are all the key people we would need to manipulate who are manipulatable. And their decision making is basically like, say they're a centralist, right? And they're on a teeter-totter, and they know that social media wants them to engage with content, so they continue to be on the application. And then it starts going a little bit in one direction. So it's like, oh, this made me really mad. I agree with the messaging just a little. I could equally go the other way, but I interacted with this. Awesome. Yeah. We know that touch point happened. We're going to push it again. And it's like, then that teeter-totter starts to tip.
Yeah.
And that's when they start believing crazy things that aren't true. They start disowning family members. And then, it creates like a feedback loop because people are mad at them for like believing these things that aren't necessarily true. And, you get, certain people in office who probably shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we'll just leave it at that. It's okay. They're leaving. We just had another election.
Yeah. We won't be able to do anything.
Yeah. So what's like the dream job for you? Where do you want to end up?
Now this isn't one of the personal projects that I have written. I had the fortunate ability to be in a musical called Ragtime, which I thought was one of the greatest stories and like musicals that I've ever witnessed, and had never heard about it before I was in it. And that's a shame because it's so good. And so one of the things that I really want to do, and I feel like this would be just a cherry on top of everything, that like it would really bring everything full circle. I want to make what I have, but if I can just make a movie musical version of Ragtime that'll just be like, just live in infamy, that'll be perfect. Just That's it. That's what I want to do. I think that's like the thing. And then I'll be able to like, all right, let me just make whatever project and just like rest on that. But I won't feel like I'm complete until I get to see that be recognized for like the true thing that it is. So if anybody's watching this and you're a writer, don't steal my idea.
One of the projects I wanted to direct was actually the Umbrella Academy. The Netflix did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I love that series so much.
So you had like you're a fan of the comic?
Yeah, like I read the first series and I was like, this is probably the best well-written comic book I've ever read in my life.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. And it was like second to like did you ever read Wanted?
I didn't.
Okay, did you see the movie?
Yeah, the one with I want to call him Professor X.
Yeah. So they completely butchered the concept.
Really?
Yeah, so in the movie, everybody's an assassin. But in the comic book in 1985, supervillains took over the world and removed everybody's memory of it.
Oh.
Yeah, and so like the Fox is actually like basically like Catwoman. And the imagining for Wesley was actually Eminem.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. Like they have a version of like Clayface in there called Shithead.
Oh.
And it's amazing. The opening like 10 pages will just like absolutely hook you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I after unboxing some of these boxes, I remember there's like a box just full of comic books, and apparently young Julian was a huge X-Men fan. There's just a lot of X-Men stuff in there. You know what surprised me was that I didn't have more like Spider-Man comics, since I had so many Spider-Man like things.
Mm-hmm.
Just like one comic of Spider-Man and him in like Ghost Rider or something that I had gotten, and then everything else X-Men, like Cable and Gambit and X-Men Adventures and all this stuff. But I need to read a lot more like just comic books, like graphic novels, things like that. Used to be like my whole thing. Loved Watchmen when I was younger. Probably shouldn't have been reading it, but
I mean, it won a Pulitzer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was like
yeah.
it was historical,
Yeah, it was like the comic book version of To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah. I had to read it because it's important.
Yeah.
Right? Literature, guys.
The implications.
Right. Oh man. Have you seen the Harley Quinn show? You just
every episode.
That show.
So well written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking about well written things, I was like, has he seen the Harley Quinn show? No. That show is hilarious.
I see everything.
Literally
like my.
And it's so good in creating a world in DC that's just different, but also it makes sense. Like watching like, I hope this isn't like a spoiler. Maybe he's not a major character, but Scarecrow getting his like face melted by Joker.
Yeah.
Was just like something that happened in an episode. It just happened.
It was random.
Because he was mad at him.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, how about we remove the Justice League from this story at all costs? Just trap them in a book, and then like just go on with our own story about Harley. Like it worked so well. I love that show.
But
love that.
The Justice League goes missing in every like 30th issue anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not out of the world, right?
Yeah. There's ways. I remember I used to watch the the Justice League show like on Cartoon Network when I was young, and Justice League Unlimited. And every time they did anything wrong, they were like, "We're coming together and we're disbanding the league." And they're like, "You can't do that. We need you guys." And they're like, "No, we have to be accountable." I'm like, "You're disbanding the Justice League just like on a whim?" Okay, Superman. Great idea.
I absolutely loved Into the Spider-Verse. But my first thought when I saw it was like, does nobody realize we already have a black Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Spider-Punk. He's been around since like the early 80s.
Yeah, I think
Hobie Brown.
we all got little
Amnesia.
yeah. I've been a huge fan of like the Spider-Verse like story.
Hmm.
So like you just count all the Spider-Man, and I remember when did Miles Morales come out? Like 2011.
Yeah, it was right after Donald Glover was trying to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like 2011, like have Miles, and I was like, I think what it was about him is like it was just like so in your face,
Yeah.
People were just like, oh, okay, this is Black Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody at Marvel has called him the first. I think they know.
Yeah, I think Marvel knows, but everybody else doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part, that was like their first introduction
Yeah.
to that. So yeah.
It was interesting. All right, man. Where can everybody find you on the internet?
Yeah, I am the Julian Bass on everything. And then except for YouTube, where I am Macro Base Productions. And that's where you can find my YouTube. So Instagram, TikTok, Snap.
That's like your production company that you have started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where, there's a website too, I think.
There is a website.
macrobaseproductions.com. So, I got a little website going. But yeah, the Julian Bass. You can find me on all social media platforms.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us in this interview. Be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. Do all the things on all the social networks that you are currently watching this on, and I will see you in the next video.